Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion. Your host, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut, and hopefully you like this video. Hit that subscribe button. So as you know, the Mets had a terrible season. They collapsed. And it isn't just because there were issues with the clubhouse, but there were also problems in terms of the pitching. The Mets stars really couldn't go through 4 innings. It was very difficult. Walking a lot of batters, falling behind the count. Very difficult to watch it, and very difficult to for the team to win. Now, one of the things they did was they fired the pitching coach, Jeremy Hefner. He had to go. He should have been fired a long time ago. He should have been fired after the 2023 season. But he's finally gone, and the Mets have finally figured out to start finding people and finding ways to get ahead in the count. This is why they hired this new guy from the Red Sox. I don't remember his name. Justin Willard Scott? I don't know. But anyway, he's been brought in because he was able to get the walk rate down in the Red Sox farm system. So we'll see how he goes. There is a very interesting trade market and a very good free agent market this offseason. Framber Valdez, we saw Dylan Cease get signed. That's a really in on Framber Valdez, by the way. Merrill Kelly, quite a few guys. And, of course, there are some trades out there that the Mets could do. I would suggest the Mets do 2 things. One, sign a big pitcher like Valdez and make a trade. Now, a name that's popped up today on Wednesday is right-handed pitcher from the Minnesota Twins, Joe Ryan. I went through his numbers a little bit. Not a high walk rate. That's great to see. He doesn't walk anybody. I mean, really, I think his career walk rate is 2.1 walks per 9 innings, and that is excellent. That is excellent. That means when you're throwing strikes, that means your defense is on their toes and not on their heels. I think that was also a big reason why at times this Met defense wasn't as good as it should have been. It's because we saw these long innings, these long pitch counts, and guys had a very difficult time putting batters away. But Joe Ryan doesn't seem to have that issue. Now, I would mention he is from Minnesota, so meaning where's the pressure? So if he were to come here, how would he handle things here? Well, apparently the Mets are talking to him, or talking about him with the Twins. I have an article here from SI. New York Mets showing interest in Joe Ryan. The Mets are reportedly among the teams interested in acquiring Minnesota Twins righty Joe Ryan, and he made the All-Star team this year. New York Mets are scouring the offseason market for an impact starting pitcher. The club has been linked to numerous free agent starters, but is also said to be sifting through trade options at the position. Most recently, John Heyman, the Scott Boras whisperer of New York Post, reported that Minnesota Twins ace Joe Ryan intrigues the Mets as a potential trade partner and target. Heyman added that the Twins are believed to be interested in New York's number 4 overall prospect, Jonah Tong. Let me continue on with this. What do you think about that? Leave comments in the comments section. Ryan's name began to emerge ahead of the 2025 trade deadline as the 29-year-old was fresh off his first All-Star selection. The Twins also began to sell off parts, including Carlos Correa, Harrison Bader, and Johan Duran, so it appeared likely that they were prepared to get a haul for their star pitcher. It was even falsely reported that the Red Sox did pull off a deal for Ryan in the waning seconds of the trade deadline. Since then, there have been conflicting reports with USA Today insider Bob Nightingale. He's a little shaky, as we know. Recently stating that the 2 teams simply ran out of time. Well, ESPN's Jeff Passan and Kylie McDaniel claimed that they never came close to finalizing a deal. Well, isn't that interesting? Now, the Red Sox, as you know, they made a deal a week ago, and they picked up Sonny Gray. Regardless, Ryan wasn't traded and instead finished a stellar campaign in Minnesota, where he posted a 3.42 ERA with 194 strikeouts. Of course, 30 starts. He had a very good year. But now, with a full offseason to field offers for their star player, Minnesota could be awaiting a huge return from one of the many pitching-needy clubs. It's pretty much everybody. The Mets, of course, are among those teams. But they are uniquely positioned to trade for Ryan because of what they will be able to give up. New York saw all three of their top-ranked pitching prospects make the MLB debuts last season, with Nolan McLean, Brandon Sprout, and the aforementioned Jonah Tong each making multiple starts. The young pitchers had varying success, with McLean looking to be the most polished and big. And it's funny about him being the most polished. He just took up being a regular pitcher last year. I mean, yeah. I mean, he has got tremendous stuff, and he's got a real good baseball brain. While Tong struggled at times, the 22-year-old showed flashes of the tremendous stuff that made him nearly unhittable in the minor leagues last season. I would mention about Jonah Tong, this is my own opinion, he has a lot grown up to do. He comes across to me as extremely immature as a person. Just an impression. And he's not ready for prime time. I thought his stuff was okay. I didn't think it was amazing, terrific, spectacular. I didn't think that at all. But he is a guy that you can use him in a trade. I would not have a problem trading him, to be honest with you. And the Twins aren't going anywhere for the next few years anyway. And they basically just tore the whole thing down last year. I expect Ryan's going to get dealt. That's without a doubt. As a young and highly touted and coveted prospect, it's not surprising that a rebuilding team like the Twins would be in on Tong. But Heyman's report is encouraging for the Mets because it sets up a potential centerpiece of a package that not many teams could match. Following the trade of Marcus Semien, the club could also be more willing to move top infield prospect Jett Williams if it meant landing a frontline starter like Ryan. Jett Williams' future is up in the air with the Mets now because of the trade with Brandon Nimmo for Marcus Semien. Marcus Semien has a 3-year deal. He's not going anywhere. There's other players that are on this infield that the Mets they can make him expendable. And he has versatility, and he's a very good offensive player. So he could definitely go on a trade. I mean, I think he's very expendable. It will take an aggressive package to lure Ryan away from the Twins. With 2 more years of team control and seemingly growing value, Minnesota can afford to be patient with their righty hurler and wait to be blown away by a deal. But the Mets have the prospects to dangle and the financial capabilities to extend Ryan if they can acquire him. As the offseason progresses, look for Ryan's name to continue to pop up as a perfect fit in Queens. Now, a couple of things about Ryan. He doesn't appear like he's a number 1 starter. He might be a number 2 starter. That's why I wouldn't be too crazy. I'm going to trade Nolan McLean anyway. If it was me. But he's a number 2 starter, from what I could tell. Which is fine. The Mets need all the help they can get. They don't even have a number 2 starter. They have a bunch of number 3s and basic number 4s and 5s. I would not classify Nolan McLean as number 1 because I think it's unfair due to the fact that he's basically learned how to pitch now. I would not, under any circumstances, move him. And I would bring in an ace. Part of the reason would be just to take pressure off of him. I don't want any pressure on him. Let him go out there every 5th day and just do what he did this last season. I thought it was very unfair what the Mets did down the stretch. They brought all these young guys in here to help them, try to, save the bullpen and hope that they would save the season. I thought it was very unfair to really all 3 of them. But Mets got desperate and they didn't have any pitching at the big league level that could help them. Obviously, they had all kinds of injuries. Losing, Griffin Canning really hurt them a lot. Losing him hurt them a lot. Who would have thought that? But he was pitching a lot of innings and he blew out that Achilles. Just a terrible situation happened with him. But you let me know what you think about this video. And of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut. And I'll see you later.